We are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I am your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Today is Sunday, May the 12th, 2024, Mother's Day. Happy to all of you mothers out there. We appreciate you. We love you. We wish you the best of days. We're going to get right to the phone lines tonight because we always do. That's what the show's for. It's a call-in show. We call it that because we want people to call in. 701-779-9585. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear comments. And here to address those comments, to answer those questions is Mr. Allen Head, Mr. Cole Pinkston. How about you, fellas?
How about you?
How about you, big dog? How we doing tonight, man?
Pickle I ever heard. I didn't want people to think I was anything other. I was like, here. The Vlasic. Y'all remember the Vlasic stork?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I am not too young for that. I can remember.
There you go. Cole's got some Googling assignments tonight after he gets off the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crack research staff.
There you go. Right. Absolutely. So let's real quick before we get to the phone lines. Has anything happened the past week? Ronan Chambers, maybe?
Not yet.
So
did we talk about that on the call-in show last time or on the recruiting show?
Recruiting show.
Yep. When did he pop?
So he went Monday night or Tuesday? Yeah. No, it was Tuesday, and then late Tuesday night, obviously, was the big signature linebacker win that none of us were anticipating happening.
That's right.
Oh, Tyler Lockhart.
Yeah.
I was thinking Khalil Jacobs. I was like, I don't think he's committed yet.
No.
Okay. Still waiting on Khalil Jacobs, the South Alabama transfer linebacker. He's now going to visit Alabama and Missouri again. I mean, he's been saying this for 2 weeks. He visited Auburn 2 weeks ago, and he was going to visit, then he wasn't. Alabama, Missouri, and I think Ole Miss is now in the picture, according to On3's Pete Nakos. But Auburn's most recent piece of the puzzle from the transfer portal was Ronan Chambers, who committed and subsequently signed 6 days ago. He is a offensive tackle from Akron who was previously committed to Tulane. And I think we talked a little bit about him on the recruiting show, but in case you missed it, guys, give us a quick 30-second rundown. Alan, we'll start with you, what Ronan Chambers brings to Auburn and why this was a get. Not a huge get, but it was a get.
Sure. I mean, it's competitive depth, right? You're talking about an experienced veteran piece. And if you have plans of winning 8 games or 9 games and you have an injury, having a player of his caliber that has that level of experience against G5 and P5 competition just makes all the sense in the world to me. And I know there's been some pushback by other people that have their own podcast or, people posters on the board or so on and so forth as it pertains to maybe why you would take another senior offensive lineman by comparison to somebody who maybe had a few years on them. And I would tell you, maybe that person doesn't exist in the portal. Maybe Ronan Chambers was the best offensive lineman in the portal that fits the skill set that Jake Thornton wants, that this offense needs, and can give you some rotational depth and maybe even a starting piece if you have that injury.
Cole, do you like this guy as far as being a versatile guy who could step in at a couple of different places along the offensive line should it be needed?
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me of Gunnar Britton. We talked about this a little bit, but somebody that is really good at run blocking, probably not, I don't know if he's SEC level as a pass protector. He could be, maybe, but maybe not right now. So if that's the case, you have him as a backup at guard. You work him in at all these places at tackle. He's ready to go at a moment's notice. And I think it was a good thing for him. He wants to go to a place where he can win. I don't think he ever won much at Akron.
No.
He was looking to go to a better program, it seems like. So I like the fit both ways. I think it's good. I think it's a good pickup for Auburn.
Yeah. Is Terry Bowden at Akron?
He was fired. I believe it is Joe Moorhead at Akron now.
Oh, Mississippi State guy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think, so Moorhead left Penn State to Mississippi State to Oregon, and I think he was Mario's offensive coordinator at Oregon and then took the Akron job when Mario went to Miami, if I remember correctly.
So other than Mr. Ronan Chambers, we're kind of on standby when it comes to the transfer portal. We don't know of any other guys Auburn is seriously targeting or planning to bring in. We know Khalil Jacobs remains on the board and hoping to hear something from him in the next week. but Ole Miss is now in the picture. Alabama, Missouri, and Auburn, of course. So we'll see about that. We want to get to the phone lines. I want to hear what Mr. Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama, has got to say tonight. But before we do, if you're in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, you're looking for a home, looking to sell your house, looking to move to Auburn, Opelika, maybe upgrade. You got just the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. A lot of fours in that number, but she is a 5-star realtor. If you don't believe me, just ask me. I'll tell you. She is fantastic. My goodness. You listen, you don't, even me, you don't really understand what a good realtor can do for you until you've had one. And it wasn't until I had her that I realized how badly I was mistaken on my thoughts on having a good realtor the time before. So give her a call, man. I promise you will not be disappointed. She is a 5-star realtor. Give her a call. Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. Happy Mother's Day to Miss Jessica Andrus also.
There you go.
Happy
good Mother's Day so far. My presents went over well. Now let's make this the question of the night, okay?
Okay. Oh, I forgot.
Growing up, was Mother's Day a big deal in your house or not? Because I grew up in a house where, like you said, Happy Mother's Day. We went to church, we went out to lunch afterwards, and that was it, right? I married into a family where Mother's Day is a very big deal. And you better have a present, and you better celebrate, and you better do something. So not bad. It's just different, right? You know what I mean? And now it's a very special day in our house. But growing up, my mother was very different. You know what I mean?
Mine too. We acknowledged it.
Yeah.
You know, and still today, Jessica and I went up there and had lunch with her and brought her some flowers, and she would rather us come up there than she doesn't care about Mother's Day.
Right.
Right. And those are the women I really like. Like Jessica doesn't care. I mean, she wants her boys to bring her something handmade or write her a note.
Sure.
Acknowledge it. But
yes.
No, we're not putting the feet up and rubbing her feet all damn day.
Not doing that, but you better have a gift, man. You better have some flowers. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
You know,
it's one of those things where she won't ask for it, but she'd be a little disappointed if you
yes,
didn't, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Made the mistake one year. We were moving into a new house in May. For those that don't know, I'm in the military, so we move around a little bit. Moving into a new house in May, completely forgot, because everything, you know what I mean? You're trying to set up your house, you're working through plumbing issues, all these other things.
Sure.
And I completely forgot Mother's Day. I mean, absolutely forgot it till about midday. And I got the look like, hey, Alan, do you want to say anything at all? Or
anything you want to say to me, champ?
Yeah. Like, yeah, can you hand me those pliers? You know, I will tell you that I never forgot
over here.
Yeah, I never forgot Mother's Day ever again.
Cole, is Emily a big Mother's Day or your mom?
Yeah, they're about equal on it, so I didn't have a big transition, you know. But I'd say they're moderate, kind of like you were saying. Yeah, they probably want something, but they're not going to sit there and tell you everything they want.
Right.
Accept it on the day of and be happy, and you know. So moderate. Yeah. Let's say moderate.
Zach?
Yeah, no, it's not a big deal. It's just like Happy Mother's Day, and do we have plans today? No, then just leave me alone. Like
if you're
normal day.
Have you moved? Do you live in a separate city than your mother?
Not now, but I did. Like I lived in Kansas for about 3 years.
So would you call her? Would you call her on Mother's Day?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right.
I had 1 year, like I had my sister bring her a bunch of stuff for me, like at work 1 year, do stuff like that. But she just wants a phone call. That's it.
Yeah, right on. Mine too. Yeah, that's
by the way,
no big deal.
From having a cousin in the restaurant business, did you know that Mother's Day is the most busy day for restaurants?
Yes.
That's why we decided not to go out today.
Yes.
I was like, we'll go get some Mexican. And my mom was like, dude, that place is going to be packed. And I was like, you know what? No mamas want to cook on Mother's Day. That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
So we went and got some sketty and took it in there, and we ate at home. So yeah, I hear you. Mother's Day is an anti-restaurant day for me.
Yeah, it gets pretty packed on Mother's Day.
Zach in the back came to the front. I'm hoping because Mr. Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama is going to kick the show off right.
He's got competition.
Oh, get in here.
2 people on the line since 6:15.
That's dedication, man.
That's trying to warm up my.
We're gonna go with Kevin first, and then we'll go to the other person. But Kevin, you're live, man.
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama.
How about you, Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama? How you doing today, big dog?
Fine.
Good. You had a good Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Did you spend it with your mother?
Yeah.
Well, good. Did you tell her about you going to lead off the On 3 call-in show today?
Yeah.
All right. What'd you tell her you're going to ask? Have you been preparing your question?
Yeah, I got 5 questions now.
Whoa!
We gave him too much time. That's what he was doing, Zach. He was thinking of another 2 or 3 questions. All right, Kevin, start us off, big dog. What you got?
Jaquiz Hunter will score 27 touchdowns.
I like it. That's a number. Who else you got, Kevin?
And Jemiah Cobb will score 23.
That's his number. I like it. Who else you got, Kevin?
And Cam Coleman scored 28.
Okay. All right. That is
And Perry Thompson 28.
tied up with Cam. Anybody else, Kevin?
And other dude is
Keandre Lambert Smith. Fairweather. I was going to ask you about Rivaldo.
Okay.
Good.
How many you got for him?
About 29.
Oh, he's going to lead the way, folks. You heard it from Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama. Rivaldo Fairweather will lead the team in touchdown receptions with 29, one more than both Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson, 2 more than the rushing touchdowns of Jarquez Hunter. Hey, this leads us to a great question, Kevin. Who do y'all think will lead the team in touchdown receptions?
Ooh.
So Kevin's got Rivaldo Fairweather and Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson not far behind. But that's a great point, Kevin. Great little insight here, and that's what we're gonna answer for you, Kevin. First of all, Kevin, last thing, Kevin, before you go.
Nope. He's already jumped off.
All right. Well, hey, my dad's a big fan, Kevin, from Wilmer, Alabama. Got a big fan out there.
I know he's in the chat because he left us a few before we got on here.
All right. So let's go. Team leader in touchdown receptions by the end of the bowl game. The season's over with. Who leads the team, Cole?
Y'all want to take a guess at how many touchdowns Rivaldo Fairweather had last year? Just a guess at it.
13.
10.
6.
6.
6 is correct. I think your leader is going to be Lambert Smith.
With how many?
8, 9, something like that. Maybe
do
7.
Do you see a diverse? What am I trying to say?
Diversification.
So like
one 8. You got 2 guys at 6 and one got 5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more spread out.
A lot of diversity, a lot of flavor
thank
as it pertains to the offensive pass catchers. I'm going to go with Rivaldo Fairweather. I think because of the mismatch now, you had to utilize him so much on the outside where a cornerback is more adept to guarding that back shoulder throw somewhat. I think you get him on the inside matched up against a safety or a linebacker where he can box out. To me, I think he's going to be your leader. If you get down in the red zone, having him, he's going to be a mismatch nightmare over the middle of the field, especially with bigger featured outside wide receivers that you also have to guard against. So I'm going to go with Rivaldo. I think 9 is about right for me. I'll go with 9 for Rivaldo Fairweather to be the leader in receiving touchdowns this year.
Zach in the front.
I also had Fairweather because I think we put Cam right there around 8. And I think
7, 8.
Yeah, 7 to 8. I got Fairweather at 10. I think we get double digits. Like, because like Alan said, in the red zone, he's such a mismatch. And now that you add a Cam Coleman on the outside, you have weapons in the slot that you can use in a variety of ways. I think Fairweather, you're going to be able to control his matchup more often in the red zone, and they're going to trust him because he's proven in the system, while the rest of those wide receivers have to prove themselves.
Sure, especially early, right?
Yeah,
I think that makes the most sense as far as the mismatch in the red zone. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'll go Cam Coleman. I think Keandre Lambert Smith really opened it up for Cam Coleman, and I think that's going to allow him some longer balls. So maybe not so much in the red zone, but you've got, even in the red zone, if you can get him one-on-one with a 50-50 ball on a fade or something like that, I like his chances. I'll go with Cam Coleman. Well, eight or nine, something like that.
Okay.
And I think it's all going to be close. I think Rivaldo will be right there with him. I think Keandre Lambert Smith will be right there with him. I think they're all going to be, 6 to 10.
The difference in us talking about this year versus last year is now you're thinking a lot of guys could really potentially fight for that spot as having the most touchdowns. As last year, you're looking at it going, all right, who can score for Auburn?
Yeah, who's it going to be? Like,
Who exactly is going to score a lot of touchdowns for Auburn?
Let me read you guys 2 stat lines, then we got to get to the next caller real quick, and I want you guys to tell me who this is. All right, completion, 164 completions, 286 attempts, 57.3 completion percentage, 2,136 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions.
Is that Walker White's high school senior?
Was that Robbie? No.
Fast forward a year, same player, 261 completions out of 358 attempts, 72% completion percentage.
Wow.
2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Oh, it's the kid from up north.
He is from up north, originally from Kansas.
Oh God, who is the guy? It's the quarterback who made a big leap.
Graham Mertz from Florida.
Oh no, that's not who I'm thinking of.
Interesting.
So the reason I say that is I've heard so many people bag on Peyton Thorne, right? Because of the way he performed this last year. You just heard how bad those stats were for Graham Mertz 1 year ago at Wisconsin. He moves into a system that fits him significantly better in Florida. I think the system that we're going to be transitioning to and the play caller you're going to have at your disposal for Peyton Thorne fits him much better. You increase the weapons around Graham Mertz at Florida. You're doing the same thing at Auburn. So to think that he can't put up statistics that are in that realm of what Graham Mertz did last year, to me, I think that's doable. I think he can go for 2,500 plus yards. So between 2,500 to 3,000 yards, 20 plus touchdowns. And with the weapons we just talked about in the pass catching game, Rivaldo, Cam, the young man, Dre, your running
Perry
back.
Thompson. Let's don't forget about Perry Thompson.
Yeah. Let's not forget about the young man from Georgia State, Robert Lewis.
Right.
You just
Nobody
added
ever talks about Sam Jackson at all either.
Sam Jackson is your 4th or 5th wide receiver, right? Like these are guys that literally you have added just a plethora of guys. Now I don't know. Sam's still making that conversion from quarterback to wide receiver, how much he'll be featured, but it took Cody Burns a year, and then he really was a receiver. Will it take Sam Jackson that long? I don't think so, because I think he's more of a natural athlete than Cody. Even though Cody was a fantastic athlete, I think Sam Jackson's even better. So how quickly does he get up to speed? I don't know, man. But I just think that people that think that aren't necessarily putting it as a potential, I don't know that he's going to do it. But the potential is there for Peyton Thorne to take a quantum leap. And he's going to have to for this team to really get to that 8-win plateau, which is where we think we can live.
And let's not forget about my boy Camden Brown.
Yeah. Also there. Had a good spring. Had a very good spring by all accounts.
And listen, this is one of those receiver groups, including the tight end group, where you go, dude, I feel like I could go out there with these guys and pass for 2,000 yards and a 60% completion rate. Right? I'm not really, but I mean, that's how good on paper these cats are.
It's a lot better.
I agree, and you got to like the way the schedule lays out to get some of these guys comfortable, because you are going to have some transition. Cam Coleman's going to be playing in his first college game ever, right? The first time he steps foot in Jordan-Hare will be his first college game. Obviously, Dre's coming in from Penn State. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there for him, getting up to speed some. Perry Thompson, first college game. Robert Lewis, first time in the Power 5. So you've got some transition there with the exception of Rivaldo as far as your featured pass catchers are concerned. But if you look at the talent level, I mean, it's there, man. I mean, it's hard to ignore what you've seen and what you've heard, what you saw on A-Day, what you've heard from practice reports, and what your expectation is of Perry Thompson as he comes in. I mean, because you're talking about a guy that physically is ready to compete day one in the SEC. And where is he at mentally with some of what's asked at the wide receiver position in Hugh Freeze's offense? I don't know. And if you don't know where to be, it'll get you benched quicker than anything. But from a physical standpoint, ready to play.
Ready to play.
Very, very, very quick question because we got callers. I know. To the three of y'all, is there one thing glaring about Peyton Thorne that stands out that was not good and you don't think will ever get better? And then on the other side of that coin, is there one thing that you thought he was good at? I'm just curious. We've never really broken down all of these things about him. It's more so just, he had a terrible year. I'm just curious what stands out to y'all about him exactly that's terrible or may not get better.
My biggest complaint is holding on to the football too long.
Yes. And I think that gets mitigated because Hugh Freeze is in his headset now, right? Like we're talking about from an alignment.
He's got more talent around him to get open.
Correct. Guys that can create bigger windows of separation. And when you don't create that separation, guys that have the ability to have that catch radius to be able to pull things in and make plays in one-on-ones that they weren't able to make last year. So I'm with you, man. Like I think there are things with Hugh Freeze in a headset saying, hey, man, it's middle field close. Watch the rotation of safeties at the very end. Watch the walked up, watch the walked up safety and option 1, 2, and 3 are out. Make sure you're looking at 4 and 5. You're good to go. And so long as, he makes a quick decision between what's left on the table, I think Peyton Thorne has a chance to really be successful. And I think that helps him because you are changing offenses again. Now it's something that's close to what we ran last year, but I think the structure is different and the way plays will be nuanced and called will be different as well. I think it'll be more set up for him to have success.
I've learned, in doing film studies on him and to prove what the real problem is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that are glaring, and then there are things that you don't know what the play was. You don't know what the timing was supposed to be of everything. We don't know that. Nobody does. No, ESPN commentators don't know that. Nobody except for who called the play and the quarterback.
Right.
You go back and look at Bo Nix when he was at Auburn. He looked like he was just out of control all the time. He goes to Oregon. He's a Heisman candidate because he's everything you thought he could be. That's what has to happen. Obviously, how does that happen? Is Peyton Thorne even capable of being a lot better? Obviously, he is. He's shown it before at Michigan State.
I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun year. Track these things, see how much they improve on the offensive side of the football, especially throwing the football. All right, Zach, who has been waiting longer than Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama?
They were all there together, but let's see, 1-3-3-7. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is Big Boy Foosball from the corner.
I like it.
Yeah. How about you, big boy?
Happy Mother's Day to the missus. Hope everybody had a good Mother's Day with their significant others.
Is that a big deal in your household?
Segue into what I wanted to talk about tonight because I posted on the corner earlier today CBS's power rankings, which I think are BS, but with everything that we have surrounded Peyton with and added in the portal window, I do not see how we are the 12th best team in the SEC. I think we're going to exceed expectations from the national media. I know it's a national guy that wrote that article, but I mean, fellas, there's no way with what we have on offense and Hugh calling the plays, especially now, if he's more involved in the offense, that we cannot exceed national expectations. 12th is embarrassing. We have to be top half of the SEC before the season even kicks off, and by the end of the SEC season, I think we're going to be right there. I honestly do. I think we're going to be in that top 4 or 5 range with a chance to make some noise. But yeah, I mean, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on that, but that is that's a kick in the teeth for sure to call us the 12th best team in the SEC with what we've added in the off season. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, big boy. He didn't give us a Mother's Day rundown.
He did not, did he?
All
Yeah,
right,
so foosball.
all right, I get you. All right.
Oh,
But
okay.
my mom was a nurse. She was usually working most holidays, including Christmas. So holidays in our house were almost non-existent. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna agree with Alan and Jeffrey and say, yeah, not a big deal in our house.
Did you at least acknowledge it to her on Mother's Day?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, I sent her a GIF this morning. It's like a little
It's GIF, by the way.
some BS. That's happy Mother's Day. But yeah, not a big deal in our house. But
You
yeah,
s-
you gotta acknowledge your mom. She brought you into this world, right?
She can take you out.
and bring another one in that looks just like you, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Dude. She had to put up with my BS for 18 years till she got me to Auburn, and then I was on my own.
I hear you.
He sent her a GIF, big boy. You sent her a GIF, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, well, so
Not a
she's
GIF,
got-
not a
her
GIF,
birthday was
a
on
GIF.
Saturday, April 15th, so it's pretty close together. So I can only afford so many flowers.
All right,
hear you.
man. GIF is peanut butter.
Oh God.
Okay.
It's Jif. Cole.
Cole, you ever seen that video where the guy pulls up next to these people and he's like, "What are you looking at, you fat man?" And the guy goes, "What I do?" That's Cole right now.
I just took a stray. I didn't say anything.
Took a stray. All right, big boy. Here's what I want to say about the national media, and I am very surprised. But if y'all haven't noticed, if you remember on 3 Auburn Live on 3, you have heard in the past week on 3's national folks are very high on this Auburn football team.
Right.
Andy Staples is very high on Auburn. Thinks 9-3 is absolutely doable.
Hey, look at you.
Yes.
Emojis
Smile
are
on that.
emojis are back.
And then, of course, our boy JD Piquel, very high on Auburn and what they can do this year. I understand other people's concerns there. I don't know about 12. What's 12 out of 16?
Who was in that CBS Power Index? Who's behind us? What, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
and who?
So I pulled up the rankings. So the teams in front of Auburn, they had Florida at 11, A&M at 10, they had Kentucky at 9, Oklahoma 8, LSU 7, Tennessee 6, Missouri 5, Bama 4, Ole Miss 3, Texas and Georgia 1 and 2.
Huh. And who was behind Auburn? Everybody else.
Yeah, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt.
So this is what I will say. Power index ratings are different than win-loss schedule, right? Because not everybody plays the same schedule. So this is more, you can't really say like, hey, Auburn's going to go 8-4 and they're significantly better than this because Auburn's schedule is not the same as, say, LSU's. But I would say that I think Auburn, Texas A&M, Florida, all right there to get, and Kentucky, to me, are all very similarly talented teams. And so Auburn could go as high as 9 on that list, to me, in my opinion. Maybe you beat Oklahoma head up in Jordan Hare, but on a neutral site, would you beat Oklahoma? I don't know. So, yes, 12th is a kick in the teeth, but the reality of the situation is the SEC's deep, man. I mean, they're very deep. So I don't really get all that offended when somebody puts Auburn at 12th, given what we've done for the last 3 years in a row, because you've gone 6-6, 5-7, 6-6.
Yeah.
So if you look at the arc of the last 3 years, I mean, I think people are probably leaning on what Auburn has been and not necessarily future casting what they could be. They're kind of going to wait and see how this all comes together. I think there's a lot of, okay, Hugh Freeze, we know what you did at Ole Miss, but It's a new day and age. Can you make the adjustments that you need to make to be successful in the SEC right now? And until he proves it, they're probably not going to give you the benefit of the doubt by comparison to other teams where their head coach has been there a little bit longer. But Cole, how do you feel about it?
I think it's a fair ranking because really and truly, from about 5 on that list to about 13, 12, 13, everybody's on the same level.
I hear you.
There's a big step up when you get to 4, 3, 2, 1, and then there's a pretty good fall off when you get down to Vandy and South
Mississippi
Carolina,
State.
I think,
Arkansas.
Mississippi State. So that's why when we're talking about the schedule, we call those games toss-ups because they're really close. They have to rank somebody in front of somebody, and this is why I'm kind of like you, Jeffrey, on the whole free throw thing that you had. Like you want to change that. I want to change how preseason rankings are done because I believe it should be a continuation off of last year. I've always believed that. I don't believe in, hey, I feel like this team might be better this year. Yeah, well, I don't care. I'd rather start where you were last year. I don't care what people think. That's why I love the playoff. I just don't care what computers think. I don't care what people think. I like to see the team settle it. Bottom line. So,
I agree, which is why you shouldn't have rankings till week 4. But that's just me, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
as someone who's an official top 25 voter in the FCS level, I agree because putting preseason polls together is the worst thing of all time because you got to balance. Well, this team sucked last year, but they've got 27 players coming back who were impact. Do I take a chance on them or do I give the defending conference champion the spot because they just won it? It's like a weird balance.
Even though they lost 17 seniors.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't even care. I feel like they earned that spot. If they're not good enough, they'll lose and they'll fall out. It's preseason ranking. But that's the point I'm trying to tell big boys foosball here. It's not that big of a deal, but all those teams right there in the middle, they're really, really close. I call them toss-up games on the schedule. And by the way, if you're Hugh Freeze and you're seeing that Auburn is number 12 after you've rebuilt the wide receiver room, after you've brought the defensive line up from the ashes, after you've almost beat Georgia and Bama last year.
Sure.
You got a third-year starter at quarterback or on the college level. You got a pretty strong running back room. Offensive line looks good. All of these things, if you're Hugh Freeze, you're going, what a blessing. What a blessing to be number 12. Thank God we're not higher and they're not starting to get excited about us out there with all this talk. Let's keep it quiet and let us do the work here.
No, I'm with you. And Hugh Freeze will play this perfectly. I think he's done this throughout his career where he has won games where people did not expect him to compete, right? Like he has always coached better from that underdog mentality, us against the world. They don't believe in us, able to kind of really get a team motivated and up for games. And I think that plays to his strong suit.
You know who else has been like that, Alan?
Who?
The Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, very true. Kind of glove in a hand there, right?
Yeah.
So, or hand in a glove, I guess I should say. But, Auburn has struggled with expectation, right? Like even in the Dye years when we were expected, I think it was 85 when Auburn started off preseason number 1, ended up going like 8-3 that year, 7-4, 7-3, something like that. I can't remember exactly what the deal was, but lost to Texas out the chute. So even going back as far as I can remember, Auburn has struggled somewhat with expectation at times. And when the years that Auburn's been counted out, they've played significantly better. Now, I'm not expecting Auburn to go out there and I think the ceiling for this team is 9-3. I honestly believe that. I think the floor is 6-6. The ceiling is 9-3. And I feel like Auburn's going to find their way to 8 wins. That's just my expectation for this team. But if you're Hugh Freeze, absolutely, because people are not circling you yet, right?
Yeah.
It's a very different approach. And this is not bad. I don't want anybody to think I'm taking a shot. I'm not. But the way Coach Prime is at Colorado, where he wants everybody to know who he is, right? Like and that's on brand for him. That's who he is. But it's a very different approach. And he's trying to instill confidence in his guys, whereas Hugh Freeze is very more quiet and is much more quiet about it. And he's building that confidence amongst them, but it's us against them, right? Like we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to be about it on the field and we're going to catch it. You know what I mean? Like when you think we're not prepared, that's when we're going to come out and announce ourselves.
Good stuff, big boy, with his gift, his Mother's Day gift. Appreciate the call, big boy. Foosball. All right, Zach in the back. What you got, big dog?
I believe we got Anthony from Montgomery on the line. Anthony, you're live.
Fellas, Anthony
Phyllis,
from Montgomery.
Phyllis.
What's up, Anthony?
Oh, Smitty J. What's happening, big dog?
You know what? Anthony had a question for us to do on the show, and
He did.
We're not doing
I already
it
had
right
mine.
now.
I was ready for you, Anthony.
Yeah, well, y'all want to know the question? Well, for Mother's Day, that's kind of like y'all like they want some acknowledgement, but it's not like, hey, take me to the Bahamas this for
Right.
Mother's Day. or anything
Yeah,
like
right.
that. It's
Thankful.
just,
At
you know,
most.
I mean, some
at
flowers,
most.
you better say something. You can't just not let the day go
That's
by,
right.
but they're not expecting.
Brother, don't do it. I'm telling you. You'll be sleeping
Yeah.
on the couch.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, taking back, listening to the show, what I got is I got Fairweather leading in touchdowns. I got Robert Lewis leading in catches, and I got Cam Coleman leading in yards.
I like it.
Ooh.
I like it.
Isn't that like another
Far
Darius
as my
Slayton, Ryan
question,
Davis?
Give me all four of y'all. Give me one guy that will make the transfer that will make the biggest impact.
Percy Lewis.
Percy?
Lewis.
Percy Lewis.
Oh, I was like, you mean Robert?
Because of what he does to the entire offensive line. I think it makes that whole operation better.
So
Boy, I'd really like to say defensive line somewhere, but
I get kind of nervous when it comes to what could they be promising to get guys out of the portal. When you're doing well like that, and I know the game, I mean, we study it, Jeffrey. This is what we do. I go, all right, what did you tell this guy to get him here? What exactly did you do here? So for that reason, it better be Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I think directly and indirectly, Keandre Lambert-Smith. I think he's a weapon of his own, and he's going to open up stuff for your young boy in Cam.
Fair.
Probably going to help out Robert Lewis lead the team in receptions. He's going to help out a lot of folks. He's going to help out Peyton Thorne. He's going to help out Cam Coleman. He's going to help out Rivaldo. He's going to help out Lewis. Giving them another threat like that.
Another crucial one is because they're so young at safety is Jaron Thompson. He needs to be good.
Yes. Yeah.
That passed my when I was looking on defense. And the thing about the defensive line,
Jerry.
guys. Yes, sir.
My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you asking me about the comedians?
Yes, I was. I've got my guy.
Oh, just not to cut y'all off before I go. David Chappelle and Chris Rock. I know a lot of people think David Chappelle is like super funny. I don't think he's funny at all.
Dang.
I love Dave Chappelle. I
Got a
love
Mr.
Chappelle,
Rowe
man.
over there. Chris Rock, older
Yeah.
Chris Rock, yes, hilarious. I haven't really seen any of his new stand up, but his old stuff's hilarious to me.
I'll tell you who gets the hell on my nerves, and I can't stand this dude.
Who?
Kevin freaking Hart. Can't
That was
stand
my pick. That was my pick. Kevin
him.
Hart
Can't stand him.
or George Lopez. I don't like
Jeffrey's
it.
been watching that Cat Williams interview.
That
Guaranteed.
energy.
Now,
Cat
Cat is one
Williams.
of my tops.
He's pretty funny to me, but his stand up's not my favorite, if that makes sense.
The
I think
everyday
he's
I'm
hilarious.
hustling. The everyday I'm hustling intro was the best intro to a comedic performance I've ever seen and there ever will see. That was hilarious.
Who's your favorite comedian, though? I want to know Anthony's favorite, too.
I
if
tell
you
you,
feel
man. Bill Burr is making
Pretty good.
a move up top of my list. I think Anthony, what's his name, with the crowd work he does is good. I tell you, another guy I can't stand, Anthony, is the pretty boy that all the girls love.
Oh, Matt Rife.
Can't stand his ass. Yeah,
He gets on my nerves
Yeah.
a little bit, too.
Hey,
Matt-
Bernie Mac, RIP.
Bernie Mac. I never thought
Bernie
he was
Mac.
great.
Yeah,
I thought he was
see-
great in film. I didn't think he was
Yeah, I
great
agree.
at stand up.
See, all right. So now we're getting to mine. Like the one that I didn't think was funny, Cedric the Entertainer. Like I do not find
No.
Cedric to be funny at all, man.
Yeah,
When
he's not my
like
favorite.
doing his stand up in movies. I think he's great. You know what I mean? Like says got a definite role and he can be absolutely funny. But in stand up, not so much. Two for me. One old school. Oh, look at that,
Well, that makes me
Look,
jealous.
dude. Eddie Murphy.
That torques my jaw.
Eddie Murphy Raw. I can watch that
Eddie
like
Murphy,
8,000
Sure.
times over Brawl. Like
That got
he's-
me into comedy. I mean,
Yes.
watching comedy, watching his what was Delirious and Raw,
Yes,
two of the
He's
best ever.
fantastic. Eddie Murphy's awesome.
bro.
dude.
When he starts talking about the two Italian guys coming out of the Rocky movie, hey man,
Martin Lawrence too. I'm a huge
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence fan.
yeah,
Oh, I never liked Andrew Dice Clay.
no,
Have y'all heard of Nate Bargatze?
Yes.
This guy owns me. He completely owns me. I mean, I think he is hilarious. That's my favorite one right now, easily.
I like Ron White, and the drunker he gets, the better he gets, in my opinion,
Oh,
man.
I don't love the raunchy comedy that much. Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy. Hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny. Oh,
I don't
he does
love-
good crowd work too.
Oh yeah, he's great, man. But I'm so raunchy's not my style, really. Like I
Right.
hate Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's
Oh,
movies can be funny, but I hate him.
Me too.
But Ron White is absolutely. Have you heard the one he's talking about Tiger Woods?
Yes,
Nothing funnier
yes,
than
dude.
that, dude. Yeah, don't just go look that one. It's a little rough.
Yeah. But yeah, the drunker Ron White gets, the better
Yeah.
he gets.
He sips on bourbon and smokes some cigarettes.
Oh,
Yes, he
Cigars.
does.
I've seen him live twice, actually.
Anthony, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, big dog. Do we even talk about football with you yet?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Y'all was trying to, but I got y'all track. I don't want to hold up too much time, man. Y'all gave me the window.
No, you're good.
All right,
man.
big dog. Look for you next week, Anthony.
Y'all have a good night, man.
All right, man. You too.
All right.
3643. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, fellas, this is Clay from Columbus.
Oh, Clay from
CC?
Columbus.
Columbus, Georgia,
Oh,
No, it's Georgia. Okay,
right next to
Okay.
Phoenix City.
I'm
right down the road.
vaguely familiar. We had a dude calling in from
well, I told
Ohio
you
one
about
time.
Phoenix City. There's going to be a superstar coming out in the next couple of years, Tristan Lyles. I think he's going to dominate. He's going to
Yes,
move up the
sir.
rank.
He can
Love
play.
Tristan Lyles. Love him.
He can play.
I
Knew
got a couple
Tristan
questions
when
for you guys.
I think I built his profile.
I
picture.
noticed when there were people were posting some visits, they were like, this guy's going to visit these 5 schools on these days. Everybody was getting a visit on the weekend, and it seemed like Auburn was sliding in a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Monday. Is that a strategy they're trying, or they don't care? Get them on campus. They're so good, they're going to lock them down no matter what. I was curious what y'all thought about that. And Cole, I think it was last week or week before, he said he was selfish and wanted to see how Hugh's vision plays out. How do you see Cole? How do you see the vision playing out? Say it's 2027. Hugh's gotten his players in there. He's gotten his guys. It's built up how he wants it. This is all working in his way. What do you see how do you see it working? Like our defense is looking, our offense is looking. Just curious what y'all thought about that.
All right,
All right.
Clay. That's some good stuff, big dog.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. So let me hit the midweek visits first. I don't think, and then Auburn did this last year. That last weekend or two in June,
Mhm.
Auburn did not bring guys in that week. I think that's what they're doing. They're moving this up instead of bringing those guys in at the end of June. I don't know why, but they're bringing those guys in. A lot of midweek visits we've been set up.
I think that whole last week of June is dead, if I remember correctly. I just took a peek at the schedule, and I think the last week of June is completely dead.
June
And then you've got that-
24th. That's the first
Yep.
day of the dead period.
Well,
Right.
And I was going to tell you the last, even I think the weekend before that, I don't think Auburn has any schedule.
I think Hugh Freeze is going to give them that
June
week.
14th. June 14th is the last weekend that anybody has anything scheduled at Auburn. So the June 21st, they might sneak a guy in or two. Go ahead, Cole.
Sorry. For what I understand, that June 14th, that's going to be it.
Huge.
And then probably, we've heard this several times, Jeffrey, Freeze likes to give time when he has it. I think he's made the point to staffers before, like, listen, we lost Jeffrey. I don't know what happened. His computer fell down. Anyway, he's made the point to staffers, like, man, how many times you seen your mom in the past year? Speaking of
Right.
Mother's Day, twice, 3 times. You know, if you count that on years, you're only going to see your mom 15 more times. You better go do it. that kind of stuff. So he believes in giving them rest. He believes in giving them a break. And I don't rabid fans are going to look at that and probably go, I hate that. But you're not losing much there if you go ahead and get it all done with everything you need to do. You take off, and then you get back to it when the dead period's over. It's like, taking a couple more days. So that's because nobody else is scheduled. I think this is how they're going to do it. They're probably not going to do much that last week. They're going to say, all right, everybody, get your bearings, enjoy the dead period, come back ready to get after it.
Yeah.
June
And don't
14th.
forget, you're going to have camps rolling right in as along with
That's right.
OV. So it is going to be an action-packed, like from May on, because we've got official visits starting in May. It's not like it's, only in the month of June. But look at that last weekend, guys. Julian Lewis, Eric Winters, Jacaleb Falk, Tyler Lockhart, Devin Williams, Carday Smith, Dante Core, all coming in that weekend of June the 14th.
Yep.
Whoo, buddy. That is just massive, man.
But talking about what Clay, the Monday, June the 10th, Isaiah Gibson, Zion Grady, Caleb Edwards, Shakai Mills Knight. On Wednesday, Jaden Perlotti's coming in.
Yep.
Then that leads up to that big weekend of June the 14th, which like I said, there's another week before the dead period, another 10 days, but I think that's going to be your last weekend for official visits in the month of June. That second half of the month, they're going to take it off.
To his question, I don't know if there's like a strategy with having them during the week. Do you think there is? As far as transfers, I think there is, because you're probably trying to get that first visit. It don't matter when it is. Get them in. With high schools players, I don't know if there's a strategy. What do y'all think?
I think it's when they can maximize, when they can put the position coach and Hugh Freeze around guys that they want. So it's strategic from that standpoint. You don't want to just completely load up the weekend and then your head coach doesn't get an opportunity to speak with somebody who's extremely important, right? So you got to spread it out. And we also don't know what camp is going on what day, so who's going to have what on their plate. And the whole point of an official visit is so that you get a full feel of what it's going to be like to be coached by a guy, to sit in these meeting rooms, to do the things that, to get comfortable in a way that, hey, Auburn is the place that I want to go. And then you also look, now they can have this conversation, but you also got to schedule that time to go to OTV and everything else that goes with that, right? So there are a lot of moving pieces that go to an official visit now, and you got to make sure that all that's lined up. And I could not imagine being in the logistics side of trying to plan OVs. Like, hats off to these people for what they go through for the months of May and June, because that is literally like boot camp for them. You know what I mean? That is hell month. And good for Hugh Freeze for giving these people, because I think a lot of people see, these position coach salaries and coordinator salaries and head coach salaries. The guys in these recruiting departments, they're not making what these people are, and they're the people that make this stuff happen. So them getting a break, not just the assistants, but everybody in that department, that's huge for them, man.
For sure.
Good stuff, Clay. Appreciate your call, big dog.
You want me to answer his second question?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I was thinking about it.
Your vision.
Probably the vision. And the reason I'm just to put more into that, I kind of left it out there that I'm being selfish wanting him. The reason I want that is because I'm a recruiting reporter and I'm watching all these big dogs come in, and I think he's going to land a good bit of them. So if that's the case and you continue to stack those classes on top of each other, eventually you're going to have a really, really good product on the field. And I really don't want to see that cut short, because having to start all over again is not fun for anybody, including us, Jeffrey. It's not fun for us either. So selfishly, that's why. But also, as far as like off to 2027, the vision, I don't know. I mean, I can't predict the future. I feel like Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss was fixing to get it rolling, and then he screwed up. And he would tell you that. Yeah. And it messed everything up. I don't think he does that again as well. I don't know. I mean, he might. You never know. All I'm saying is, if he continues on this trajectory with his roster, and I think he's a good coach when it comes to getting his team ready to compete in each game, no matter how big it is, I don't see how Auburn's not successful with him.
Stacked. The roster's going to be stacked.
And think about it this way as well. I think with Ole Miss, because of the NCAA kind of hampering some of what he was able to do from a recruiting standpoint, like that first class was huge, right?
Yeah.
With Kim Dichie and Treadwell and a handful of others. And then he had another really big class. I think he had 2 classes that were top 7, and then some other classes that teetered back into like the low 20s, maybe even 30s, because of the NCAA inquiry and everything else. That's not happening here at Auburn. So you don't have to worry about overcoming that bit of negative recruiting and trying to explain to recruits like, hey, we're not going to be on probation and so on and so forth. Like that's not an issue at Auburn at this point. So you're able to continuously sell Auburn in a positive light. And I can't tell you from us, covering this the last 3 years, how much easier it is to sell when things are positive by comparison to when things are negative, right? Like it just,
Sure.
I mean, when you're up against it, it is really hard to pull in kids. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
No doubt.
Zach in the front, what you got for us, big dog?
5202. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Darren down in Niceville, Florida. How about you now?
How about you, big dog?
Coming a regular caller there.
I
Darren.
like it. That was my favorite call last week.
Last week, sure was.
Let's see if we can't make it the favorite call again this week.
I am curious to hear what happened with Connor last week on his Red Barn date. Remember old Cuz called in?
Oh, you're right.
He was on a date.
Yeah, he snuck outside to call us.
Oh, all right, Darren. What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
Yeah, first of all, Mother's Day, make her feel special. Get her a card. Get her a good lunch because she shouldn't have to cook, clean, or anything. And that's kind of how we played it.
Absolutely. Bingo.
And I'm going old school. Give me, I know y'all going to really, Lucille Ball was live and hilarious, y'all.
Really?
And Tim Conway would absolutely, he would have everybody on the stage live just in tears. It was so funny.
I love Tim Conway. What about Carol Burnett?
Yeah, Carol Burnett.
Bring it forward a little bit. Richard Pryor.
Oh, yes. Richard Pryor's hilarious.
Darren, how you feel about Rich Little?
Like Rich Little. There's some really good ones back then, but Tim Conway literally split sides on stage live right then. It was nothing. I mean, everything he did was in front of a live audience, him, Lucille Ball, and them. And that's pretty today. A lot of fake laughter, this, that, and the other,
Right.
And a lot of improvisation
Piped in,
on
yeah.
stage. That was their stage being filmed at that time. So I thought that was another level of wow. You had to do it right then.
Did he do Apple Dumpling Gang?
He absolutely did.
Okay. Look at you, Jeffrey.
Go back and watch him as the dentist, though, with Harvey Korman sitting in the dentist chair. It's just
That was skit comedy before skit comedy was
love
even
that
a
stuff.
thing.
Variety shows and skit
Yes.
comedy. Yeah, that's good stuff. Carol Burnett.
But Richard Pryor not only on stage, but some of his movies are just crazy. I mean, the man's handcuffed to a headboard and he takes the headboard and all out the door, running for his life from that girl. That was just fun. You
What
can't
was the
make that
baseball
up.
movie he was in?
Oh, it was
Wasn't Bull Durham. It was something.
I know what you're talking about.
Brewster's freaking Millions.
Yes.
Or something for the Orange Groves or something.
Brewster's Millions.
Yes. Something like
the name of the movie. It's been so long ago.
The Red Devils or something like that, right?
It was Brewster's Million. He had to spend. Remember back then, it was like, how am I going to spend $1 million? Like, oh my gosh.
Right.
What is $1 million now? That's
Yeah, right.
money.
Yeah, really.
Or was it the Bulls? Was that what it was? Something
was
Bulls?
It was the Bulls. Remember?
God, man. Yes, I've seen that movie multiple times over, Jeffrey.
John Candy was in it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, John Candy was in that.
But Darren, go ahead, man. Let's talk football tonight. What you got while Jeffrey's looking
I
that
think we
up?
can all agree with this one, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Most improved player that we have to have is going to have to be Peyton Thorne.
No doubt.
I mean, if Peyton Thorne is the most VIP MVP this year, we are 9-10. I think we can get there. I really do. I think we win one or two that we're probably nobody's expecting us to, because again, a few weeks back I stated how I felt like the schedule set up with people playing really big games before us. And I know that another counterpart of y'all's is that has a show that has also been bringing it up lately on his morning shows, things like the Texas A&M game being before the Texas game. And they've been waiting for that for so long. But if Hank Brown or somebody has to come in to try to put the pieces together, we're another 7-8. I still think we're better than last year. I just think we're improved across the board. I don't see how we're 6-6. We've got to be. I mean, y'all tell me if I'm wrong.
No.
We've got to be one game better. I think
Absolutely.
the score has to be 7, and the ceiling has to be maybe 9 or 10 with the MVP of being Peyton Thorne.
Completely. That's why I put I said anything less than 7 to me is a huge disappointment. It's not impossible. Absolutely, it's possible. But man, it would be disappointing as heck for me.
No, I agree. And the reason I make the floor 6-6, Darren, is because what if injury happens to Peyton Thorne and you're trotting out Hank or you're trotting out Holden? I think you can beat Cal, Vanderbilt, and probably Arkansas with one of those guys. Like, I honestly believe that. I don't know that you could beat anybody else on your schedule with one of our backup quarterbacks. Now, maybe you could. Maybe they're significantly better than I'm giving them credit for. But that's what I'm thinking. Worst case scenario, if you have an injury to your quarterback position, I think you can still go 6-6. Like, you can find a way to grind it out to that.
Yeah, I hear you.
But
yeah,
that's why my floor is down there. But I'm with you. It just floats so much better. You need to show that upward trajectory. 7-5 needs to be the floor. Like, if everybody stays healthy, you do not need to finish any worse than 7-5 for Hugh Freeze to feel comfortable, like things are moving in a positive direction. Because if you look good and maybe you beat somebody, like say you beat Oklahoma or you beat A&M, and you like that's a victory that you weren't necessarily projected to have. Because I think as of now we're 3-point dogs to both. If I'm remembering correctly. So winning one of those two and going 7-5 and you look improved offensively, you can sell that. Beat both of them and you're 8-4, you can really sell that. So I really think that 7-5, 8-4. I mean, that's where Vegas has you projected, right? I think it's 7.5. That's where they got us right now.
Yep.
So that would be the expectation.
Yeah, and they didn't build Vegas because they're wrong.
No.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. But let me just say that you know that Coors Light commercial with LL Cool J comes smashing through the house and he's in the big train and it's freezing and snow and Cole Pinkston. Let me tell you, if he's right, if they stack them and they go 9 wins this year, look out, that train's coming through the house. Be ready. Y'all have a great week.
Appreciate you, big dog. Darren always bringing the fire.
I like old Darren, man.
I do too. I love the positivity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to add Frank Caliendo in mine.
Ooh, yes. Man, the John Madden impersonation gets me every time.
If you watch Sports Center at all, or if you watch the draft, he does Mel Kiper. He does all those people. John Gruden. Oh,
yes.
What about Nikki Glacier?
Oh, Nikki, she's hilarious to me. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. Did you watch the Tom Brady thing?
She murdered that.
Yes, dude. Yes.
She was the funniest person on the stage, and it wasn't even close.
Easily the funniest person on the stage. Who was it that Brady got up and was like whispering in their ear not to talk about Kraft? Like,
was it Jeff Ross?
Yes.
Jeff Ross is hilarious for like roast. He's not a good stand-up comedian, but roast-wise, like when he did the prison roast, where he went to like real prisons and roasted prisoners, that was hilarious.
I agree, but I did find that part interesting. Like when Ross started in on the old owner, man, on Robert Kraft.
Oh,
Brady got up and you saw him whisper to him, like, knock that shit off, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Don't say that again.
He
meant it too.
Yeah.
I need to watch the Brady roast now. I haven't done this.
Watch it.
It's good.
It's worth your time. It's worth your
time. I'll tell you one, Anthony, I can't stand this comedian. Never laughed at a joke she's ever had. Kathy freaking Griffin. Exactly.
Or Wanda Sykes is another one I don't find very funny. Amy Schumer. Don't find her funny.
Oh, no.
She's not.
Look, and I made the mistake of going to watch her live in Atlanta, dude, and it was easily the most disappointing live comedic show I have ever been at, period.
I got a good maybe question for next week. Did y'all grow up watching Saturday Night Live?
Of course.
What was your favorite era of Saturday Night Live?
Oh, Chris Farley.
Or maybe who was your favorite cast member ever? Like, who's got the best collection of skits from Saturday Night Live?
I didn't think Dana Carvey was good either.
Will Ferrell in Celebrity Jeopardy, hands down. My
Alex
favorite,
Trebek.
yes, as Alex Trebek. And the guy that plays Sean Connery, yes. I'll
Will
take
Hammond, or Daryl
the
Hammond.
rapist for 500, Trebek. That's therapist Sean.
The rapist.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald being Burt Reynolds on one of those.
Yes.
Oh,
That was
he's
great.
The Jeopardy with Norm Macdonald as Burt Reynolds, and
Oh, yes.
I tell you who else did a great job. I think it was Keenan who was playing the host,
Yeah,
but Tom
Keenan's
Hanks was
great.
playing the white guy on the Who Knows Black People.
Yes,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, hilarious!
Hilarious. Yeah, those are all good. I love Adam Sandler, of course. Chris Farley.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that's because you had David Spade was also mixed in that group.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, copy boy, making copies.
Making copies. The Bradster.
Yes. Yes. No, that's good TV, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, what we got coming up? What's on the itinerary for this week? We're going to see what Khalil Jacobs does.
Yeah, that's a big one. And then do they get a defensive back to visit, right? Because I think those are the two spots right now where you want to see Auburn make a move. And then realistically, I mean, I just don't get the feeling like they're looking to do anything else after your report. And then I kind of asked around.
Here's the thing. And everybody's like, well, there's 6 more spots to fill. I don't think they're going to fill those spots.
I don't either. I'm starting to think that now. And maybe that was a lesson learned from a year ago where they were determined to fill those spots and they ended up getting guys that didn't help.
Right.
Not that it mattered. They moved on, but
I think it matters in this way, right? Are they bought into the culture? Because you can bring guys into your locker room that can be a distraction, that can be disruptors. I don't think Hugh Freeze is interested in doing that this time. And you've got guys, Griffin Speaks, I think, is still on this team that you can give him a scholarship for a year. You've got the kicker from Auburn High School that absolutely you can put him on scholarship. There's zero reason why if you've got an open one.
Great group of preferred walk-ons in this class.
Exactly.
Great group of preferred walk-ons in this class. Now, I'm like you. Typically, those scholarships are for like 1-year guys. You've earned your way. Because if you give a guy a scholarship now, he's going to be on the 85 until he graduates.
And the expectation would be, you put me on scholarship this year. Are you going to renew that? Right.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a 3-year deal after this year. So the Griffin Speaks, something like that. But I also think this might be a trend moving forward. I just had a conversation with a guy last week, and the possibility of not filling out all 85 was discussed, and it becoming almost commonplace because of NIL.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to fill out.
Look, yeah. I think we're trending towards a downsizing in roster size for football anyway, because of the way. I mean, and look, the court case out in California, the House case, is going to really settle all this. But there's no way for you to be able to give full tuition. I mean, not full cost of attendance scholarship and NIL dollars. There's just not enough money to go around for you to continuously do this at 85. I think it's probably going to drop to like 75 or maybe 70 is what you're looking at.
Yep.
It's never going to dip down to what the NFL does, just because the NFL also has
54, 53.
They have 54, but they have 15 practice squad guys.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So they're always going to be at 70 to 75, but I think it's going to get less. Less A, because of the money, less 2, because of Title IX and the implications of you having to either equal opportunity or equal pay. I don't think the court has necessarily determined that yet. You're going to have, so they're going to get sued, and somebody's going to make a determination of whether or not you just have to be able to pay them whatever they're worth, or do you have to match the dollar that you're paying elsewhere? You know what I mean? Because if your sport's not generating revenue and you're not generating revenue, should you necessarily earn the same as somebody who is? I mean, I think that's the question right now. And the way Title IX is geared, you would have Title IX advocates that would say, absolutely, pay has to be equal across the board. And I think you would have business-minded people that say, we just read it as you have to have an opportunity to, to generate NIL and to be paid. You don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be a dollar for dollar match because we're giving you the opportunity to go out and create your own value. And if you create that value, we will pay you accordingly.
Be curious to see.
I didn't add this. I did an article today. Freeze was at the Pro-Am golf tournament in Hoover, Alabama. And, most people around here know who Rick and Bubba are. I listen to them a good bit. He was on there. I listened to it this morning. And I was like, that's a lot of good stuff he's saying there. We need to put that up. I didn't put up. He had sort of a joke at the end of the interview where Rick and Bubba were like, I mean, you didn't know what you're getting into, did you, Coach? I mean, you didn't know you were going to be an NFL coach. And Freeze goes, NFL has structure.
This is true.
It was a pretty good little jab, I thought. All these coaches are hitting them with some good jabs right now. I don't know how much it'll matter, but it's interesting that nobody's real happy about it except for the players, of course. And then when one player finds out what another one's making, then that player's not happy anymore.
I thought that was the most interesting part of that article was when he said we signed the non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
So that they can't tell anybody. So we've talked about Cole asking these kids about NIL. Well, they've got a non-disclosure, which makes a lot of sense. I'm telling you, 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to look back to this time and go, man, that was crazy. Can you believe it was just out of control?
No, and it 100% is, and it has never been better to be. And this is not me in any way taking a slight at college football players. If I were a college football player right now, I would be doing the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when we move forward from this house case, because that is going to set the parameters for collective bargaining. And once you have collective bargaining in place and revenue share, there are going to be rules and guidelines put on players that are not there right now.
Right.
They don't exist. And so this me renegotiating year over year to increase my value, that doesn't happen in any other bit. That doesn't happen in the NFL. You have a 4-year contract. You serve out that 4-year contract, and then we can talk a renegotiation, right?
Yep.
Did you see
a lot of things?
Hugh talk about what we have been talked about, putting these guys on a contract, and if they choose to transfer, there's going to be a buyout to be paid. Did you see him talking about that? We had talked about this months ago. You choose to leave your contract, you're going to have to buy it out. Somebody's going to have to pay us the money.
Yeah,
Sure.
Freeze made the comment. He was like, if I wanted to leave Auburn today, somebody's paying me.
So he said, somebody's paying my $8 million or what?
Right.
Your buyout, dude, is not $8 million.
That was on next.
Well, his buyout, if he were to leave, if he gets fired, I think his buyout's like 75%. So it's different. Like they have mitigating clauses for like, if you want to hire me elsewhere, you're going to have to eat this poison pill of $8 million just to negotiate.
Right.
Okay.
So they've got buyouts both ways. Where that's what Hugh Freeze. Yeah, that's what Hugh Freeze is talking about. Think about assistant coaches. Derek Nix this year, right? There was a buyout that Auburn had to work through to get Derek Nix to come over here. It's like that in every business. This is the only place in the world right now where you can be tampered with. And look, I get it. Again, kids should be able to earn what they are able to earn, 100%. But you should also have to negotiate in good faith. You know what I mean? And when you agree to terms of a contract, you're held to that contract unless you buy it out. And then the school's profiting from that.
What a wonderful web of worldwide football we weave. And we try to make sense of it. It's going to be difficult, man. I just think we're going to look back at this time and go, I cannot believe that was ever happening.
No, I'm with you, man. I mean, it's closer than you think, Jeffrey. Like, I think by December, we have a settlement hashed out in the House case. I think shortly after that, you're also going to have a skinny bill that's going to be passed through both houses of Congress, because you have to have some kind of antitrust exemption to coincide with this settlement to make sure that you're not consistently getting sued. And that is also being argued on another front. Watch that piece, because without that piece of legislation, you're right back in the same spot that you're in right now, constantly getting sued because, you know what I mean, somebody's upset with the deal. So you have to be supported in some capacity, just like the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, anybody that negotiates in antitrust and has collective bargaining has to have some kind of support and backing there from legislation.
We will be doing our best to keep it up, man. Another great show. Great show. The bookends of the show and everything in between was just so meaty tonight. Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama, down southwest Alabama, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
He is the leadoff hitter for the Auburn on 3 call-in show. Kevin got started, loved it, got us going good. Big boy Giff Foosball got us going. Anthony Montgomery, always fantastic. Clay, like that midweek visit stuff. That was good stuff. And, of course, Darren closing us off there from Niceville. He's a nice man from Niceville. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. We will be back Wednesday morning with a recruiting show. Stay tuned to Auburn Live on 3 because you never know what's going to happen this week. This is going to be one of these react weeks where you're always looking for something because something's going to happen. Probably going to be a little surprise, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So be on alert this week, Auburn Live on 3. If you haven't already, get subscribed to Auburn Live on 3. Use the promo code AU1, capital A, capital U, the numeral 1 for 2 months for $1. Can't beat it. It's like a cute puppy. You just cannot beat it. And we will be back Wednesday morning with a recruiting show. We'll go on the corner Tuesday afternoon. Look for Mr. Allen Head's post. Get your questions in. We will answer them all on Wednesday. One more time, if you're looking in or around Auburn, Opelika, Lee County for a house, need somebody to help you out and do a lot more. She's fantastic. Give her a call. Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. She is a 5-star realtor. If you don't believe me, just ask Allen Head. He'll tell you. Like he
Damn right.
Hey, that's going to do it, folks. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. We truly do, man. For Allen Head, for Zach in the back who came to the front, for Cole Pinkston, I'm Jeffrey Lee. Y'all stay out of that left lane. See ya.